So obviously this experience has taught me so much about the world of filmmaking. For example, I've learned a lot about the different stages of making a film. So the extensive research which must first take place, then everything involved in the planning stage, like planning how to get everything you want out of a film, then how to deal with problems that occur both with planning and filming, and finally the precision it takes to get the perfect product once you're editing. I've also learnt some general skills such as organisation, timekeeping and thinking on my feet. But what I think I've learnt the most from the preliminary task was skills to do with cinematography and editing. So for example in the preliminary task we learnt about continuity techniques. For example the 180-degree rule, which is used so the audience can always tell where the action is happening and they don't become confused. We weren't really amazing at sticking to this rule in the preliminary task, and trying to ensure that we were led to some, quite frankly, horrible continuity. So it was obviously constantly in my mind during my own production, and so as a result I don't think that I broke the rule, at least not obviously. We did however make good use of the reverse shot technique in the preliminary task, which is an effect where a character will look off screen at an object or person, and the camera then cuts to the person or object they were looking at. So this not only gives the impression they were staring at it all along, but it also allows the emotion of the character to be emphasised easily and effectively in the first half of the shot. So this obviously came in handy when it came to filming my close-ups in my own production, because it allowed me to focus the audience's attention on one girl at a time to achieve the hopelessness effect that my audience loved. Match on action is another continuity technique which we used in our preliminary task when a character is walking through a door. It involves showing an action, then closing in on the action so the audience is constantly aware of what's going on. I loosely used it in my own production when girl 2 is lighting her cigarette, so the audience is just aware of her character. The preliminary task also made me realise the power of shot types, and in my production I use certain shots for an obvious effect. For example, I use a high-angled shot at one point to show that girl 2 has more power and superiority over girl 1 at that point in the narrative. I also use a very long shot on girl 1 at one point, so she seems quite small and insignificant, which is obviously supposed to reflect how she feels at this point in the narrative. And I think finally the preliminary task also taught me the importance of continuity when it comes to editing. There was some frightful editing in the preliminary task, so obviously I was really focused on getting it right this time. And during the editing process I was sure to cut clips correctly so that continuity remained intact.